please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar, and take a look at the markets. At lunchtime, markets are really fully in power and bulls in control at this point. Markets clearly at the high point of the day, Nifty 50 at 10,655 levels, while Sensex at 34,525 levels. Clearly at the high point, mid-caps are the ones which are outperforming after subdued trade yesterday and over 0.5% gain on that particular index. What has really led the charge is also Bank Nifty, which has really recouped and really fought back its position into the greener territory. But still, it had been dragged down, especially because of ICICI Bank. That has been the biggest dragger of the day. But it is also the tech day with earnings really kicking in. Infosys, ahead of its earnings tomorrow, is roaring ahead with being the highest contributor to the overall market gains. But on the flip side, TCS is the one which is subdued in trade before its earnings today. But we cannot really complain about TCS, because if you really take a look at the 5-day line chart of TCS, it has gained a lot in the last few trading sessions. And there you go, that is a 7-day chart of TCS. So gained a lot, but today it's probably time for profit booking. But overall, advanced decline in market breadth really looks strong for the markets, and bulls are clearly in charge. And I do have with me Mangalam Malu also. So Mangalam, what's happening with the global markets today?
Well, in the globe, majority of the Asian markets, they traded lower, taking cues from the weak lead coming on Wall Street. Remember, the Chinese appetite for US bonds perhaps waning, and that caused a bit of a concern. So we'll keep an eye out on that. The Asian markets, though, ended off the low point of the day after the State Administration of Foreign Exchange of China said that media reports on China's purchase of US treasuries might have quoted a wrong source. And that report on China's purchase of US treasuries might even be, again, I quote, fake news. Europe, if you take a look at it, it's set to open slightly higher. Investors are eyeing key economic data. Earnings coming in yesterday, the FTSE outperformed with positive economic data as well.
Oh yes, and there's news flashing on Imami Infra, though it's a smaller 500 crore rupees private placement for the company, but the stock has really shot up in trade on the back of this particular news. So almost 5% up on that one. But continuing with some of the global action today, and Bitcoin tumbles around 10% today. South Korea readies a bill to ban trading. In a CNBC exclusive, Warren Buffett warns against the growing global fascination with cryptocurrencies in general and Bitcoin in particular, in fact predicting that the bubble would burst.
In terms of cryptocurrencies generally, I can say almost with certainty that they will come to a bad ending. Now, when it happens or how or anything else, I don't know. But I know this: if I could buy long-term puts, if I could buy a 5-year put on every one of the cryptocurrencies, I'd be glad to do it, but I would never short a dime's worth.
Have you thought about trading the futures to take a negative position on Bitcoin?
No. You
would not do that?
No. There's no reason. I get into enough trouble with things I think I know something about. Why in the world should I take a long or short position in something I don't know anything about? So, we don't have to know what cocoa beans are going to do or cryptocurrencies. We just have to focus on 8 or 10 stocks, businesses basically, that we think are decent businesses.
All right, but the big earnings that we're focusing on is that of IndusInd Bank. The numbers should be out very soon now. In fact, the stock has moved and it's virtually trading at the high point of the day. We have Abhishek with us. Abhishek, what are the key expectations?
Well, Mangalam, the key focus would be on the loan growth. Loan growth between 23 to 25% will be very positive. Last quarter, it was at 24.5%. But remember that Ashok Leyland's CV sales in Q3 FY18 has been a growth of 42% on a YOY basis, and majority of the vehicles are financed by IndusInd Bank. Overall, the CV portfolio of IndusInd Bank is around 17.5%, and that is a high-yielding portfolio. So if that grows and keeps the net interest margin above 3.8%, will will be very positive. Asset quality has remained stable. Last quarter gross NPA was at 1.08%. Anything below 1.15% will be very positive. Credit cost, that is provision for NPA divided by advance ratio, for the quarter below 20 basis point will be positive. Last quarter it was at 17 basis point. Our poll suggests an NII growth of 22%, which is at a multi-quarter low, while net profit to grow at 24%. Back to you.
All right.
0.25% gain on both the frontline indices, the Nifty as well as the Sensex. The mid-caps, of course, outperforming. But one stock that really stands out is what our ticker team is alerting us as well. RPPG Life Sciences, a sudden spike, a 19% gain there at a 52-week high and trading with good amount of volumes as well, more than what the company usually sees. RPG Life is the one that I'm talking about. Intraday chart should come up for you. Over the last 3 quarters, the promoters have increased stake. They haven't yet released the December shareholding pattern. It will be interesting to see what happens out there. From 68% to 69% is where the promoter's stake has increased. But we'll be watching out for all the earnings that are expected. Tech major TCS expected to report its earnings today. The stock is under a bit of pressure today. Saw a bit of a spike in the last couple of hours, but then again, that rally was sold into. Despite that, the stock has seen a good week. Anisha is here. Anisha, what exactly are the expectations this time round? Not too much?
It's actually a seasonally weak quarter, so the expectations are a bit muted, but the stock movement is actually telling you something else. The street is factoring in a lot more. Let's see whether the company is able to live up to that expectation or not. But in terms of the numbers, I'm expecting a rupee revenue growth of 1.4%, a dollar revenue growth of around 0.9%. The profit is expected to remain flat because the other income is expected to come down a bit. But the positive surprise can actually come in on the EBIT margin front, because that is where we are expecting an expansion of 70 basis points to come in at 25.7%. That because there'll be a bit of normalization when it comes to the wage hikes, as well as operational efficiencies should flow into this quarter, and that's why we're expecting that number. Keep an eye out on the margin also, because the company has given a long-term guidance of 26 to 28%, but they're still below that 26% mark. So let's see whether they inch closer to that or not. In terms of constant currency, we're working with a number of 1.1%. Now remember, for TCS, they have been talking about a turnaround being seen in retail, but they also mentioned Q3 seasonally weak, so don't expect much from that. PFSI, they haven't been too gung about that. They have been saying that they don't know whether it has bottomed out or not. So commentary on that will be very important. Commentary becomes also important because this is beginning of 2018 and the budget of the clients get decided. So any word coming on that will be important. They recently signed some big deals in the insurance space, and that was looking up. So a word on that, and other large deals as well. Lastly, just keep an eye out as far as the realization is concerned, because that has been coming off in the last couple of quarters, and the street, it looks like, is probably waiting to hear something on the restructuring front, because all of the Tata Group companies were buzzing yesterday. So let's see if we hear anything else on that front or not. But overall, if you look at seasonally and if you go by the analyst expectations, they look a tad bit muted. Back to you.
All right, thanks Anisha for giving us the heads up. But remember, catch the media briefing live on CNBC TV18 at 5 p.m. today with the Tata Consultancy Services Management, really talking about those numbers. Of course, the numbers are expected post 3:30 p.m. anytime, and you will catch it right here on CNBC TV18. Now on to some other news of the day, and in a big boost for realty, well, the cabinet gave a go-ahead for 100% FDI in real estate broking services under the automatic route. Now, CNBC TV18's Ronojoy Banerjee caught up with the Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs, Hardeep Puri, to get a more detailed understanding of the impact of the move on the sector.
Look, all these decisions are small but significant steps which are opening up economic activity in these sectors. How this is going to play out, I hope very positively. I am looking at a revival of the real estate sector. You know, the real estate sector has suffered on account of a lot of factors. We haven't had a regulator for 70 years. We were able to get RERA in. We have taken a large number of other positive decisions like GST, demonetization. Everybody knows the real estate sector was epicentered in black money. You heard terms like 60-40, 40, you know, 80-20. Positive steps that have been taken over the last few years have been, as I mentioned, RERA, GST, fiscal incentives provided, giving affordable housing infrastructure status. I think we are looking at a number of steps now in the starting, I mean, this FDI decision yesterday is one of them, to be able to revive the sector, and I already see green shoots signs of it.
You actually preempted my question there, sir. So therefore you feel 2018 will be better than what we've seen in 2017?
100%.
What are the green shoots? Give me two or three examples.
Look, we'll have to spend time in a longer interview. Let me put it to you like this. Because the pricing and the practices were all part of evaluation, which was really a bubble, you brought in a lot of malpractices. Promoters and developers would go and collect money from buyers, invested in land banks. Those land banks valuations dropped. Other problems arose. Now, there is an excess supply in some areas and overall shortage of 20 million, according to a 2011 study. What you're trying to do now is to bring the evaluation into a more realistic level, number one. But that's an autonomous process, which is dependent on a large number of government decisions. The Supreme Court is stepping in to ensure that the buyers are given a good deal in terms of get some relief at the hands of unscrupulous.
Overall markets in good shape at this point, but take a look at Capital First. That is one particular stock which is really revving up, especially in this particular week. After, remember, Warburg Pincus had sold its stake, it had really gone down, beaten down, but at 820 levels, it has really got a substantial gain, about 13% in this particular week itself, and up about 3.5% right now. Let's focus on some other developments then, and actually a big one that came in last night. Almost a decade after the Satyam scam really came to light, market regulator SEBI has banned Pricewaterhouse entities from issuing audit certificates of listed companies for 2 years. That's a big development. Yash Jain is here to take us through all the details and what it really means. Tell us, Yash.
Well, as you rightly pointed out, after almost a decade-long investigation, market regulator SEBI finally passed its order with respect to the role of audit firm PwC when it comes to the 8,000 crore Satyam scam. SEBI in its order has very clearly stated that PwC's Indian partnership firm, which is Pricewaterhouse, was guilty in terms of concealing the Satyam scam, and in its order it has very clearly and strictly stated that all the Indian entities of PwC will not be allowed to conduct audits of the companies listed in India for a period of 2 years. SEBI has also barred S. Gopalakrishnan and Srinivas Talluri, the two PwC affiliated chartered accountants, from conducting audits of Indian listed companies for a period of 3 years. Remember, these two chartered accountants worked with Satyam between the period 2000 to 2008 and were responsible for auditing the books of Satyam. Not just that, SEBI has also ordered a disgorged amount of 13 crore, which will be paid by PwC as well as the two affiliated chartered accountants of PwC. If you read the order, it's a very strongly worded order where SEBI has very clearly stated that PwC did not perform its role when it comes to bringing external checks, when we talk about the bank balance statements as well as the fixed deposit receipts as well as the trade receipts of Satyam, because of which the company got a chance to overstate its financial, and which led to this entire blow up in terms of inflating of the financials. We also spoke to TV Mohandas Pai, the chairman of Manipal University, on this particular order. Let's hear what he makes of SEBI's very crucial order which came yesterday.
Very happy SEBI has come down. It sends a message to the auditing profession that they have to take their work seriously. If they do not, SEBI will take very strict action. Remember, SEC banned banned Anderson, and they had to wind up. And I think it's a good thing that they've been banned for 2 years. Well, I would have done a 5-year ban because I think it's a very serious fraud that's committed and they did not do the job. But I guess SEBI knows what it's doing.
All right, but the big story, Prime Minister Modi met economists yesterday to take stock of the economy in the capital. Yesterday, CNBC TV18's Ronajai Banerjee caught up with Rajiv Kumar, the Vice Chairman of the Niti Aayog, who was present at the meeting, to get a sense of some of the key ideas that were discussed at the meeting yesterday.
There was a gentleman there yesterday, and I can't quote the name because of the Chatham House rules, who pointed out that he has discovered, and used in 100 villages already, a nano herbal spray which improves crop productivity by 50% any season. Okay. And he has talked about the fact that if you do the DNA progeny for our dairy and for others, you can improve, the Gir cow which in our country produces 10 liters a day, produces the same car, produces 40 liters in Brazil, because they've been able to improve that.
Okay,
so it's not long term. It's here and now. If you shift farmers, as it happened in Uttarakhand, from wheat and maize and rice to growing aloe vera and celery and asparagus, they can double it right away, so it's not long term.
Couple of last things then, sir, because one of the points that were also made yesterday, that unemployment among the educated youth could be as high as 20%, and that's a staggering number, especially at a time when growth could well be a 4-year low. I mean, how worried are you? I mean, how...
The important point to remember is that the growth was a 4-year low and is now rising. And the second half is 7%, while it was 6.5%. And we have hit the bottom of the growth cycle, and henceforth, I can bet you that we will get 7.5 in fiscal 19.
So 2018, how do you, let's look at the calendar year, because
I think it must be a 7.5, and we'll rise from there. And all the good work that's been done in the last 3.5–4 years will show up in much higher growth numbers, which was also said to be a necessary condition for generating jobs. But moreover, jobs, the nature of growth would have to be different as we go forward, so that, and this was emphasized yesterday, that you will need to make the growth more employment intensive, and therefore focus on sectors where you get more, if you like, skilled and good quality jobs.
All right, let's talk about cars then. Lamborghini Urus, that is the first SUV from the expensive race car maker, has really been launched in India. It is the first Lamborghini with 5 comfortable seats, with a top speed of 305 kilometers per hour, and priced at a whopping 3 crore rupees.
Right, looks like a...
3 crores, Mangalam.
Are you going to buy it?
Well, Mangalam, I was thinking that you are...
No, I can't afford it. Tell you what, I think one person can, and that is Rahul Dravid. He can buy himself a birthday gift. We at CNBC TV18 wish Rahul Dravid, the original Wall, a very, very happy birthday.